breaks.
We have it first.
It's Sactown Sports Breaking News.
This one's from ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, the news that we were all waiting for over the weekend. I don't know. This is crazy. Connecticut's Dan Hurley has turned down the Los Angeles Lakers' 6-year, $70 million offer and will return to chase a third straight national title, sources tell ESPN. LA would have made him one of the NBA's sixth highest paid coaches. After a dogged pursuit of Hurley over the past few weeks, Lakers will regroup and resume bringing in candidates for interviews with the hopes of hiring a coach by the draft, sources said. James Borrego is expected to remain part of the group, and Lakers could do their first formal interview with J.J. Redick. That is all from ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. Connecticut's Dan Hurley has turned down the Lakers job after much speculation that he would just take it. It was pretty much all but a formality over the weekend, and I wonder how many people are surprised to learn that Dan said no.
Maybe he got a leak that LeBron wanted JJ.
I think I love college basketball all of a sudden. I just have an urge to be a Connecticut fan.
Well, the question is,
it's a tough look.
Let's just make this very simple. Do you think he made the right decision? I don't, and I don't know what UConn's paying him. I'm sure he's making a couple million.
I'm sure he's making pretty penny for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of, not to cop out, but it definitely is a cop out. But it kind of, again, much like I just said about Malik, it kind of depends on what's important to you. Like, I think that there's something great about the stability of college basketball. Like, John Calipari hasn't won. He's won one title, and it was with Anthony Davis all that time ago, and he's been coasting off that since. Dan Hurley's got back-to-back titles. I feel like that man's got that job at UConn for as long as he lives.
Lifetime contract.
It sucks to, like, deal with college kids and, like, have the constant turnaround and deal with NIL and deal with, the transfer portal and all that, but it's pretty good job. Pretty good job.
It really depends what you want out of life. Hurley signed a 6-year, $32.1 million contract after the 2023 championship season. So he's making 32 mil, which is nothing to sneeze at. So 32 and comfortable versus 70 mil and the opposite of comfortable.
Because I'm sure this gets him an extension. If I'm him, I walk into that 80s office and I say, you see what I just turned down?
You see what I just turned down, but okay.
You see what I'm worth in the open market?
Is that another 10? I mean, you're still UConn. You're not the Lakers.
No.
So what is that? Not. Hey, just give me 10 mil more.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's all right, more than you were making before.
Let's just assume 10 mil. Maybe it could be more. Get some boosters. Okay.
Yeah.
And hey, give me the, what he probably says is 32 mil, right? And that was a 6-year deal. Give me the 50 mil.
Yeah.
Give me the 50 mil, and we don't even have to have these conversations anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And build me a statue when I'm done, and just make sure I never have to pay for any food ever again. And I think you're solid. Like, I get it. Like, coaching NBA sounds obviously stressful as hell. It's a lot more pressure than college basketball, but I think that there's a lot of comfort in it, man. And being the Lakers coach, it's not being the Cavaliers coach. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of eyeballs. The second you do something wrong, it's all your fault, especially when you're coaching Bron and AD.
Yeah.
I just think, and the Laker brand in general, I think that there's so many things that are out of your hands, even though the Lakers were talking sweet with him and telling him, oh, yeah, you come here and we'll just be a glorified college program. You can do whatever you want. You're the one in charge. Look, I mean, the Lakers had this whole plan of having Lonzo, Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, it goes on and on and on. Alex Caruso, all the great young players they had, they threw it out the window in one offseason because LeBron wanted to go play with AD. It won him a championship, but are the Lakers in a better place right now than they would have been had they kept 80% of that core? Things change really quickly in LA, and I think that probably factored a good bit into Dan Hurley's decision. You're only in charge until you're no longer in charge there.
Again, if you're just now joining us, thank you for joining us. Connecticut's Dan Hurley has turned down the Los Angeles Fakers 6 years, $70 million offer. We had heard, and maybe that was part of it too, right? You're already making, and excuse me, earlier I said, give me the 50 and give me halfway.
Yeah.
You did not get offered that $100 million deal. It was reported 8 years, $100 million. That's not what was actually offered. 6 years, $70 million. So that is a huge difference to me. Again, for people that we don't touch millions, at least not yet, fastest growing show in Sacramento. But okay, I'm at 6 years, $32 million, all the leverage in the world, no headache at UConn, or I take, a nice pay raise to go to LA, always looking over my back. My blood pressure will probably be worse, and I'm probably going to get canned within the first 3 years if I don't win a championship.
Yeah.
And now I have a stain. I have more money, but now I have the stain of a firing, which coaches get fired as part of it. But I'd rather not have that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because we're all human. Like, we're all going to look at it and say,
this ain't Charlotte.
No.
This ain't Charlotte.
No. And he's also going to be tasked with, hey, you don't have to coach LeBron, but you got to coach LeBron Jr.
Yeah.
Like, LeBron might be out in 2 years, but we're drafting Bronny, and as crazy as it is, especially the retroactive reporting or looking back at the reporting now is even more insane, because people were straight up reporting like a big part of the pitch for Dan Hurley is that he can, groom Bronny, and they're going to take Zach Edey or whatever.
Because he shouldn't be in the draft.
He shouldn't be in the
draft. So because he's still coming out of the draft, because he just has to. We need to draft a college coach so he can continue college as a Los Angeles Laker.
Yes, exactly. And I'm sure Dan Hurley heard that, and he was like, I'm good.
So I'm going to be connected to a prospect that may or may not have even gotten drafted if his daddy wasn't LeBron James. And if he doesn't do well, it's probably going to look bad on me.
It's going to be your fault.
Or I could stay in UConn and probably because of you guys get another 10, 20 mil. I think
literally
I'm solid.
Have that job for life, dude.
I think I'm solid.
He's literally never going to leave that job. I mean, that is the benefit of being a college basketball coach, 100%, is that especially after you do something like turn down the Lakers head coaching job, the boosters, like you said, like they're going to hand over fist. Whatever you want is all yours. You're not going to have any problem getting NILs. Nothing. And he's actually a winner too. I understand why he would stay. And, I kind of joked about it earlier, but I'll ask it, like, do you think this is at all a bad look on the Lakers, or is this, do you think, just a individual decision?
I think the Lakers.
How much is he looking at the landscape of the Lakers?
I think if it was, I think money talks.
Yeah.
And I think that if I'm Dan Hurley, in maybe a year or two, whether I win another championship or not, Texas at some point is going to need a new coach. Okay. These big money schools, somebody's going to need a new coach. And the decision to not offer him $100 million could come back to haunt the Lakers, especially after it leaked. Why it leaked, we never know why anything leaks, or maybe we do. But I think if it's $100 million, maybe he thinks about it. If I'm Dan Hurley, I can get an extension from UConn. I can play this out, and I can get $70 million from Texas in 2 years.
Yeah, guaranteed.
I could get $100 million from USC in 2 years. Why am I gonna deal with this Lakers circus if it's not for $100 million?
Well, and the question too is like, what do the Lakers want from their coach? Like, especially again, if you're in Dan Hurley's seat and you're saying, okay, well, what happened to the previous people who were in my position? And he's gonna say, Frank Vogel. Well, why did he get fired? He won a championship, and then 2 years later, he was fired. Darvin Ham made this miracle run last year, and whatever, he got no credit for it. But the Lakers went from from irrelevance to they made it as a 7th seed and then made it to the conference finals. He gets fired the next season. So if you're Dan Hurley, you're saying, what the hell do I got to do to keep this job?
Yeah, I'm not really seeing this ending with a happy ending. I don't really know how that would work.
Are you ready to be the next Los Angeles Lakers coach?
And now JJ Redick is back.
But now what happens if JJ turns this down? What if JJ comes out at the end of the season and says, I just kind of, am just barely scratching the surface on this broadcasting thing. I just did my first finals. Like, think I'm going to give this a couple more years at it. Me and Braun got the pod. It's doing great. The sponsors on the pod, I'm making just as much as I would if I were a coach. Why am I going to be a coach?
Let me ask you this. If you're Mike Brown this morning, right, who can get up to, can get up to 10 million?
I think it was up to 10, yeah.
Yes, because it was 3 years, 30 million.
Yeah, that's so long ago.
With the incentives, but it's really about 8.5 million. They were going to pay Dan Hurley, who's never coached in the NBA, $11 million a year.
Without even thinking about it.
So do you feel annoyed about this if you're Mike Brown, or is it just, hey, that's the Lakers tax, they're going to be able to pay more money?
It's probably the Lakers tax. I think so. I hope that's how Mike Brown is taken in. Mike Brown knows that Lakers situation, so hopefully he understands that they just operate differently. I would hope so. I'm sure maybe you're looking at your agent a little sideways and saying like, hey man, like how does that happen? And I have to scratch and claw to get my way up to 10 mil. But I think you should be happy with your money and understand that those fools are desperate, and the Kings have been desperate in the past, but thankfully they aren't joining in on this coaching search either.
It's